Hey everybody, it's Rykard here again, back with another black and white Pokemon analysis. Today, we're going to be discussing the Golem Pokemon known as Goruugu. So let's get started by taking a look at its typing, abilities, and stats. So the first thing to make note of about this new Pokemon is its really awesome and unique typing, which is that of Ground and Ghost. Now, while this typing does give you weaknesses to Water, Grass, Ice, Dark, and Ghost, it makes you immune to normal, fighting, and electric, which allows this Pokemon to come in on a variety of different attacks safely because of the things it's immune to and also a lot of stuff it resists. But it's really cool typing and probably one of the main reasons why this Pokemon is really awesome. As for its abilities, the first one it gets is known as Iron Fist, which previously only Hitmonchan could get. And what it does is it increases the power of punching moves by 1.2 or 20% if you want to think about it that way. And this is great because this Pokemon actually learns a ton of moves that get the boost from Iron Fist, so it will be a very useful ability on this Pokemon. As for its next ability, it gets Klutz, which is a move that makes it so that if you are holding an item, you don't actually acknowledge the fact that it's there and ignore it. Unfortunately, though, this Pokemon doesn't learn Trick or Switcheroo to allow it to make use of this ability by switching some item that it would normally be hindered by to an opponent. So it kind of is a somewhat useless ability on this Pokemon, at least in my opinion, unless something is discovered that allows it to be able to make use of it. But as of right now, it's probably its worst ability. Lastly, in the Germ World, this Pokemon gets No Guard, which is the very famous ability that Machamp was known for in the previous generation. And essentially, it makes it so that any moves that have lower accuracy now have 100% accuracy against both you and your opponent. So if your opponent is using low accuracy moves, they'll still hit you as well. So it's kind of like a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. Like Machamp, though, this Pokemon also learns Dynamic Punch and can make great use of that with a No Guard ability attached to it. So it gives this Pokemon similar options to Machamp, but it's not going to be the new Machamp, as some people might think it might be. As for its stats, it gets 89 HP, 80 defense, and 80 special defense, which is actually pretty good defensive stats, allowing this Pokemon to take a couple of hits in battle and not really have to worry too much about it. And obviously, as I said before, you are immune to 3 different types, so there are a lot of things that this Pokemon can do on the defensive side. As for its attacking stats, it gets 124 physical attack, which is really high and very usable, and then 55 special attack, which is not really that great, but I'm putting a set in this video anyways that makes use of it just for the heck of it. But for the most part, you're going to be wanting to be using his really high physical attack. And as for its speed, it is at a pretty low 55, but luckily this Pokemon learns Rock Polish, which can double whatever its speed stat is, so you will see that in another set as well. But let's get started with the first set of this video right now. So first off, for this set, we're going to give Goruugu an Adamant Nature to increase its physical attack, but decrease its special attack. And then we're going to be making use of the ability Iron Fist to power up our punching moves. As for the EVs, we're going to put 128 into HP to give you a decently high HP stat, 252 into attack to max out your attack, and then 252 EVs into your physical defense to make you a little bit more bulkier in that area. As for the item, we're going to be using leftovers to obviously recover HP a little bit at the end of every turn, which works well with our first move in the moveset, Substitute, because as you know, Substitute takes away a fourth of your health to make a sub, and leftovers helps to give you that health back. As for the first attacking move, we're going to be making use of Focus Punch, which is one of the 2 moves in the set that gets the boost from Iron Fist. So normally Focus Punch has a power of 150, but with the Iron Fist boost, it now has a power of 180, which is very good, and just one of the many fighting type moves that this Pokemon can actually use. It does learn Hammer Arm as well, which gets the boost from Iron Fist as well. Um, and that could also be used possibly in a similar set like this one that isn't really relying too much on sub punching. But since you have plenty of opportunities to switch this Pokemon in on an attack it either resists or is immune to, sub punching is probably a really good option for this Pokemon because of that. As for its next move, it gets Shadow Punch, which is awesome because that's a stab move and also gets a boost from Iron Fist. So you'll be able to do plenty of physical ghost damage with that move as well. Lastly, it's pretty much a toss-up between Earthquake and Stone Edge, which is what EQ and SE mean. Obviously, Earthquake will be more powerful since it gets stab and hits a lot of different types, but Stone Edge can also be made use of if you want to make sure you're able to hit flying types or any kind of thing like that. What's great though about this is that the Focus Punch and Shadow Punch combination is kind of unresisted by most things, so it gives you a lot of options as to what your last attacking move could be. As for this set, we're going to give Goruugu a Jolly Nature to increase its speed but decrease its special attack, and we're going to be using the ability No Guard this time so that all our moves will have 100% accuracy. For the EVs, we're going to put 4 into HP this time to give you 1 more hit point, 252 into attack to give you your highest attack possible with the Jolly Nature, and then 252 speed EVs to give you your max speed possible. For the item, we are going to go with a Lumberry just because of the fact that there are a lot of things that could be done to this Pokemon status-wise that could make it really ineffective, such as Will-O-Wisp burning you, thus lowering your physical attack, or Toxic poisoning you, allowing you to obviously not stay in as long as you normally would be able to. While we don't usually have to worry about paralysis with this Pokemon since it is a ground type, it still is possible though because of Glare and Body Slam, so that'll also help against those rare occurrences that you may run into. As for the moves, the first one we're going to make use of is Rock Polish, because it'll be a great way to double your speed by making it +2 what it normally is. And with a Rock Polish and a Jolly Nature, you are able to outspeed a max speed Shandera that is Scarfed, since those are actually kind of common right now, as the game is slowly developing, I guess, in that sense. I would rather use an Adamant Nature with this set, since with a Rock Polish you'll be pretty darn fast regardless. But for right now, we're going to go with Jolly as a safe bet. As for the first attacking move, we're going to make use of Dynamic Punch, as I said before, similar to the way Machamp used it with No Guard, because with that you'll have 100% accuracy and 100% chance to confuse your opponent, which will always come in handy no matter what you're doing. And obviously it'll just be a very powerful move to use with no chance of missing. Next, we are going to be using Shadow Punch again, but that unfortunately does not get a boost this time since we're not using Iron Fist. So even though it is 60 base power, you won't be doing as much damage with it as you could have, but it'll still be powerful enough to deal nice ghost type damage to anything that might be resisted by Dynamic Punch or something to that effect. And then lastly, it'll be a toss-up between Earthquake and Stone Edge. Either one is your choice. Both obviously have their uses. Earthquake will be more powerful because it gets stab, but Stone Edge won't have to worry about missing because of No Guard, so it's really up to you which one you want to use. I prefer Earthquake in this situation. As for this last set, it's kind of just a just for fun set that I wanted to make because we're making a special Goruugu, which, as I said before when I was analyzing the stats, is kind of a stupid idea since its special attack is so low, but there is actually a way to make use of it, which I found out by looking at all of its moves and stuff like that, so it actually could be used, but I don't want you guys to take this too seriously. But first we're going to give it a Modest Nature to increase its special attack but lower its physical attack, and then we're going to be using the ability No Guard again so that all of our moves will always hit. As for the EVs, we're going to be running a similar spread to the first set, but instead of physical attack EVs, we're putting 252 EVs into special attack, along with the 128 EVs in the HP, and then special defense. As for the item, we are going to be using a Chesto Berry in combination with Rest, so that we can obviously survive longer in battle, heal up any statuses we may have received, and continue to hurt your opponent. The first attacking move in this set is going to be Charge Beam, which is kind of unique to Pokemon with similar stat builds as this one, since they normally don't have a way of increasing their special attack. But since Charge Beam has a 70% chance, I believe, to increase your special attack every time it's used, this is actually a decently reliable way to up your special attack, even because it's so, not that high, essentially. Up next will be Focus Blast, which I didn't want to pass up because of the ability No Guard. So now you have a 120 base power special fighting type move that will never miss, which is a really good thing. And even though this Pokemon's special attack stat isn't that high, it'll still be able to do plenty of damage. Next, we have Shadow Ball, which is pretty much taking the place of Shadow Punch in the previous two sets because it's the special variant and actually has a higher base power. And what's great about Focus Blast and Shadow Ball is that they both have a chance to lower your opponent's special defense, thus making your low special attack not as big of a deal if those two drops occur, even though there's really not that high of a chance for either of them to occur. And then lastly, we're going to be using Rest to obviously heal up our HP and also put us at full health after a bunch of charge beams that will have hopefully raised our special attack. So it's essentially restarting your life with plus whatever attack you got from Charge Beam. And I know obviously this is kind of silly, as I said before, but it was kind of a fun way for me to end this video by trying to be fairly creative, even though no one will probably ever use this set. But that's about it for Goruugu. This Pokemon is really awesome looking and has probably the most unique typing out of any Pokemon ever so far. So it's a really cool Pokemon to try out, and I suggest you guys do that because I like this guy a lot. So let me know what you think of these sets and stuff in the comments, and feel free to post your own. And that's about it. So take care, guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!